Today, we're absolutely fired up because our brother Evan is live on the podcast. Let's go! Thanks for coming on, Evan, to talk to us. And we just want to hear what's going on in your life. What is moving the needle for you?
Right now I have the marathon coming up next weekend, and that's pretty much the forefront of my life right now. I've been focusing on training for that since, I think, October. So I've been working really hard towards it. It's a big goal, so very exciting.
And what about want to get down a little deeper into the marathon, because this isn't your first marathon. What's the overall goal?
The overall goal is to eventually run in Boston by qualifying, which entails running. There's no set time because it depends on how the field does, but probably around a 2:55. So I would say, in my mind, I'm thinking about like 2:55 is like the threshold for qualifying as a goal.
And we know your training's been going extremely well, following right along with everything you're doing. Evan is pulling in mile on top of mile every weekend. I mean, you went out on a training run, you went sub 3 hours on a marathon just to get ready. So hopefully on game day, do you think you'll be able to perform and make it happen, the dream after all this work?
I think so, and I hope so, because the training compared to the other ones where I didn't make it, I've been doing a lot more this time. So I think that I'll hopefully be able to get over the finish line in time.
And the funny thing too is you want to talk about your coaches this time around.
Oh yeah, ChatGPT.
Oh, let's go.
I got this idea from my roommate, who's a software engineer, much more tech oriented than I am. He told me he was using ChatGPT to write his training program. So I was like, all right, I'll put something out there and see what it tells me to do. And it gave me a full week by week training plan from week 1 all the way up till week 20 on race day. And I've just been following that pretty much. Adding my own flair to it, not following it to the book, but it's been great because I can customize it to whatever I want compared to if you just go on some forum online or a website, it'll give you more generic information, but I was able to be like, I'm shooting for a 2:55 race. What should I do my tempo runs at? What should I do my speed workouts at? So it's been really helpful, I would say.
Yeah, using technology. That was the first time I heard somebody use that, and it's genius.
Before.
So it's really cool, and then hopefully, as David's mentioned, you can get that sub 3, which you've been chasing for a while. We'll be rooting for you.
I believe. I've been seeing your training progress. You can 100% do it. You have the speed, you have the endurance. Yeah, I know you're going to play it together, honestly. I'm going to be fired up for you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So let's go back in time a little bit. So to give people context at home, Evan is the youngest brother out of all 3 of us. So Davis is the oldest, I'm the second oldest, and then Evan's the youngest. You want to give a little, from your point of view, of what it was like being the little brother from growing up to now, and how that's been?
Yeah, the one story that comes to mind is when our little sister had a friend over, and she was like, our sister's name is Camille, and she was like, if you're Camille's brother, raise your hand, because she didn't even believe I was part of the family. She thought I was a friend, and I feel like that is generally how I went through the earlier years, where a lot of people knew about you guys because maybe you were closer in age and they didn't know I was a brother. So I would say that was a big theme growing up.
Evan's an absolute beast, but we have to give people context as well because we're mixed race, where we're a quarter Filipino, but then the other 75% is really Northern Europe. So if you look at Evan, he got all those Norwegian genes, literally as light as can be. And when we were kids, he had the white blonde hair, like the little kids have. And then Brennan's kind of in the middle, but then I'm darker, where I have more of the Filipino skin. So that's why they wouldn't believe we were brothers, just because we look so different. We literally tried to go to a family swim one time. The people thought we were all friends and kicked us out of the pool. So yeah, it definitely was different growing up.
Well, how'd that make you feel when people, because it didn't just happen one time, it happened.
Yeah, and I remember even like getting picked up from preschool, the teacher didn't release me to my mom. So it was pretty repetitive throughout childhood, and I felt like it was something that I was not necessarily embarrassed by, but it was something that made me, I guess, feel not good.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I am part of this family.
Yeah.
No one really knows that I am or who I am.
Everyone knows who you are, because I mean, now also we all have our dad's face. We look the exact same with the facial structures. But the things Evan is up to now are insane. Absolutely gifted, I have to say. And it's amazing to see what you do.
Yeah, growing up, Evan was always reading books in terms of, I remember there's stories of Evan reading the Harry Potter books growing up, but he's always had this natural, like, intelligence going through high school and middle school, right? You didn't study a lot and you were still getting really good grades. You want to take us through that process, that journey? Because I know once you hit, I don't want to disclose too much, but once you hit college, you really turned it on. And what was that like growing up, just having this level above?
Yeah, I'd say that just most topics came pretty easily to me, and looking back, I somewhat view that as a detriment in a way because it almost made things too easy to the point where I could get by without really having to work hard at school. So it never really instilled in me the motivation or desire to like do the best I could in school. And I think looking back, I could have done a lot better if I'd actually put in the time. I didn't have to because I could be relatively successful without doing the work, but I think if I had done that, I could have gotten to an even higher level. I just didn't, I guess, have that motivation at the time.
So just a learning journey.
Yeah, something looking back.
Yeah. But I have to say, as your older brother, it is amazing to see. Like, Evan was 3 years old, literally reading Harry Potter books.
Yeah.
Like, literally, he would be in the same classes as us at UMass. We were all finance majors at UMass. Evan wouldn't have to study. He'd naturally get it. He did 3 majors, 2 minors, just to speak to your work ethic again. And now, as we know, I've been studying with the CFA exams. Evan's gotten the first 2, first try, decent amount of studying, but not that much. You just truly do have this natural ability that, I mean, like I think about when we walk around, if you see a really good pro athlete, you can usually tell from how they're built, oh, this guy's 7 feet tall, but you can't necessarily see that in someone's brain. So I think, honestly, for me, that's the closest comparable.
And what flipped the script? What in college made you really, because I know, as I don't know if people know, we all went to UMass Amherst. Davis just told it.
Yes.
Where when Evan was a freshman, Davis was a senior, I was a sophomore. Probably the best year of college. That was unreal. But what changed in college? Because you went from maybe not applying yourself 100% to like full on academic weapon.
And literally speaking Chinese in your classes. Like, it wasn't just like economics and business. You were doing computer coding, just truly different pursuits. It was amazing.
Yeah, I think it was a couple things. I think the first one is that I just got there and I was closer to actually entering the real world at that point, so I could see the path to an actual career. So I guess it sort of felt more applicable to me as opposed to in high school. If I'm just studying geometry, it's really hard to see like how this might affect my life down the road. So it was kind of harder to, I guess, get myself motivated compared to being in a finance class. I could sort of see how that could help me in my career later on. And yeah, so I think that was like one big motivator. And I think just the second one was that I felt like I wasn't really living up to the full potential of myself, and I just realized I could see like other people working hard around me, and I was like, I need to get going, or else I'll just get lost in the shuffle here.
Yeah, Evan turned it on. There's finance fun clubs that he was a part of.
Finance Fund Club, this is literally the investment fund. Like, the toughest stuff, you have to apply, go through tryouts to get in. I mean, there are some dogs out there, as we know, in that finance club.
I think the biggest thing is you enjoyed that too.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was a junior and Evan was a sophomore, we lived right next to each other, and there'd be nights when Evan would spend, I don't even know, maybe it was like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in Bloomberg Terminal working on his pitches, and we'd be all out partying, come back, Evan would come back from Bloomberg, and I would ask him, like, or I don't even know if I would ask you, but you would say that you enjoy doing that, and it wasn't a burden.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It did suck being in the finance lab at 1 a.m. on a Saturday, but in the grand scheme of things, it was like a weekend or two out of the whole college career. So I view it as worth it, and just something that I had to get done because I wanted to get done and learn while I could.
Well, on the topic of UMass, how'd you like going to school with us at UMass?
That was a great time. I mean, I wasn't even expecting it fully going in. I feel like I understood it would be fun, but I didn't realize how awesome it would really be until we got there. I remember I met some of Davis's friends. Like I met Tommy and Connor, I think, in the dining hall like first week, and we were just already like going out together within the first month, and it was great.
Getting after it. Let's go.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I think that time period was so special. And even after that, we were there for 3 years together, which was sweet. And then Davis, we were there for 2 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to UMass.
Yeah, just a crazy growth period. Because I mean, we were in high school together at the same time, but I feel like you're still growing up. You have all your same friends around you. But UMass, we're off trying to chart our own journey and learning a ton.
And then going back a little bit, back to high school. So we all played sports, but Evan dealt with a lot of injuries with sports. What was that like? And then having us two a few years older, and then you maybe not being able to compete in some of the sports due to injury.
And then you were
How'd you deal with
nasty
that?
later on.
Yeah, just for context, I broke my femur the summer going into freshman year. I had a concussion sophomore year. I separated my shoulder twice junior year. And then I was in a cast for a few months also in sophomore year because I had an extra bone in my foot. And then I had turf toe also sophomore, maybe junior year. So I missed probably half of the seasons going through high school. And I think it was tough because it was really hard to compete. I picked up some new sports too in high school where I was trying to learn them, but also it was tough because I couldn't even play because I was sidelined. So I don't know. It wasn't. I would say the best experience. It could have been better, but I made the most of it.
Yeah, that's all you can do. I mean, you're still nasty, like your senior year of football and everything. But yeah, injuries in sports are always tough.
Yeah, I mean, there was really nothing I could do about it. It just seemed to. I seemed to be on the wrong side of luck there, and I just tried to do my physical therapy and get back to it and just move on.
Why do you think you were so injury prone in high school? Did they ever disclose?
No, I don't think there was ever any single thing that they could pinpoint being like, oh, you have an injury gene or something like
Yeah,
that.
I think you're growing a lot at that age too. Like you probably grew like literally 8 inches during high school or something.
Oh, yeah, that is why I broke my leg, because I grew like 6 inches in a
You
year.
had the femurs?
Yeah.
Wasn't that when we were at
It was a basketball camp, yeah.
We were at the Boston Celtics basketball camp over summer doing defensive slides, and everyone said, "Oh God, my leg," and he broke his femur that way, right?
No, I woke up.
Oh.
So my leg was hurting at camp. And I was like, it hurts a little bit. I'll keep going. Probably a mistake. But I woke up the next day and I couldn't move my leg. It was so painful. And I was like, I must have slept on it weird. I tried to get up and walk around a little bit, walk it off. It was not going away.
Yeah.
So then I was like, I cannot even try to go to camp today. And then I went to the hospital and had a broken leg.
It's crazy because when you think of the femur, it's such a big bone that if somebody breaks it, you think they were in a car crash or a bike crash, and little evidence.
Growing like crazy.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard that you can swing a baseball bat at your femur and it won't break. But it was the muscle didn't grow as quickly as the bone, so the muscle was still really tight and it just snapped. It snapped the bone off because it was attached to the bone.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, you dealt with some injuries in high school
I had a
too.
couple in high school as well. I mean, I had a concussion, I fractured my back, but same thing. You just get through them and then bam, you're right back to it. Yeah, because for me, it was my sophomore year.
Yeah,
I
you
missed a
were
couple
brace.
sports season. Yeah, I had to get a brace and everything because I just tried to hit people as hard as I could, and eventually my back gave out as a young sophomore.
Yeah, that was tough. We want to talk about that experience a little bit, or?
Yeah, definitely. So sophomore year, I was playing football. I was playing safety, so I'd be trying to make as many tackles as I could, hit as hard as I can, being a young person on the team, just trying to make an impact. Just over the course of the season, I guess probably like the 4th game or something, I got a bad concussion. I hit a kid and then had no idea where I was. Like halftime, I came back to it. And they're like, okay, you've got to settle down, figure it out. So I probably missed 3 or 4 weeks from that. But then at the end of the season, I also found out I had fractures in my back from just the repetitive hitting. It's probably the same thing, just growing into your body. And then I had to be in a brace for 3 months. I missed all the winter sports season. So I missed basketball season. I missed baseball season. I had to do track instead. So it definitely hurt me in those 2 sports, especially in the next few years. But just got to come back and get after it.
Yeah, what was your mindset trying to deal with those injuries? Because I know it is tough.
Yes. I think, well, for me, I was just like, I've got to do everything I can to get back in shape. And my back hasn't been a problem since. So just pick it right back up. And then, especially junior year, okay, football, going right back at it.
But then there were some things that lingered, like for instance, basketball.
Oh yeah, basketball.
You were never able to get back on that wagon just with the missed time.
Yeah, definitely it hurt, and especially like baseball junior year, just missing a year, seeing the pitches and everything. It definitely hurt in those 2 sports.
But then you came back and wicked strong in football too. So
Yeah.
everything has its pros and cons, and I remember that being a tough period for you. And I remember you being on, because I remember one time when you dislocated your shoulder, we were getting ready for lacrosse season. We were just doing one-on-ones down at the turf before, and something happened where you tried to punch at my hips, and your arm came up, and then you had to miss pretty much that entire season, which sucked.
Yeah, that was actually before I separated it. There was something weak with it. And I had this issue. I kept doing it where I would be like, all right, it hurts a little bit, but it doesn't hurt enough to keep me out of the game. And I feel like I grew up thinking that I had to be tough, where if I can play, even if it hurts, I should try to play through it.
Yeah.
And more often than not, it would just end up being much worse, and I'd end up with a bad injury afterwards.
Kids playing high school sports, watch out. Yeah, the injuries can happen.
Well, I think now too, there's a lot more awareness around just health in general in terms of recovery and being smarter about. I mean, one thing we talk about is sleep. I feel like we were on the tail end, but when we grew up, everyone said, "Oh, sleep's for the weak. This and that. Get up, get it done." Where now people are saying, "Oh, you got to get your sleep, and you'll be more optimal in whatever you're doing." So little things like that. Or I wish we had a Theragun back in the day. That thing is money. And then, or a roller, a foam roller. I feel like that is kind of new, at least for us. Maybe it was around when people were in high school.
They're definitely foam rollers.
Yeah.
Come on, man. we had all that stuff. It was just a matter of using it.
And I think a cool thing too is since we're all so close in age, we sometimes got to overlap in sports, which was extremely
Awesome.
fun. I mean, back in Little League Baseball, were we all in Diamondbacks together? Or was
Yeah.
Davis
I
on?
don't think I was on it with you, but I think we were on the team 1 or 2 years together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Because then,
Wow.
Davis would have been that.
Yeah, he was on it before.
Because it was only 3 rather than 4 years.
Yeah, just times like that, going down to the ball field, just playing a lot together. Especially growing up, I think when we were little kids, we'd always just be playing in the yard together, playing in the neighborhood, and just spending tons of time.
Yeah, and we talk about it on the podcast too, is that we all get along. What are your thoughts on the relationship of all 3 of us? And how has it benefited you, or
Don't forget our sister Camille, too.
Yeah,
we
Camille
can leave
also
her
said-
out.
I think a lot of people are very surprised when they hear that we really never fought growing up. People
Yes.
always assume that siblings fight a lot, but we're like, no, we got along very well. Maybe occasionally we would have a disagreement, but overall we got along very well. And I think it was really good to have both of you. Just being the 3rd brother, I had 2 people to see what they were doing and use it as sort of a guidepost of where I should go. So it was definitely nice having both of you around and to look up to you.
yeah, it's awesome having you as a little brother. too.
Honestly, it's awesome because you push us to whole new levels, but the ideas you also have, I mean, they just shape us. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, one example of this, I don't know if Evan knows, but in college, I was trying to find my path, and Evan was just getting after it. So in my head, I'm like, dude, I gotta be more like Evan and Davis and really focus. And I don't know if you remember this, but I don't remember what was going on, but I was talking to you about being so lost. And you said you just gotta find something that you can put all this energy of thinking about something else into something productive. And you mentioned you had similar experience, and you kind of started putting all your stuff in education.
Mm-hmm.
And when after that conversation, I said, yeah, Evan is right. Like, you have all this energy, and you got to put it in some sort of productive way to help just better your life, instead of just moping around and be like, oh yeah, this, which I was kind of in. And being in college was the first time too for me being referred as the other brother. So that was also kind of like, dang. So I knew Evan growing up, people would be like, oh, he's the third brother, like this and that, where I never experienced that until going to college. And so he's like, oh, you're the third brother. I was like, wow, I've never been referred to like that. Where it wasn't a negative thing, it was just kind of oh.
I actually get that a lot now. Because as you were saying, you were both at UMass for 3 years together. So now when I'm meeting a lot of your friends, especially Evan's down in Boston a lot, so I'll go and I'll meet like 10 of them. I'm like, oh, you're the other brother, you're the third brother. It's like, oh, what are you up to and everything.
Yeah.
Like, so it definitely is a weird factor because we're really close in age, but it's enough of a difference where a lot of people haven't met us in all the same ways.
Yeah, and that might just be an ego thing for me. We're like, damn, man. But something else I want to touch on too is Evan has been the disruptor in our family.
Oh, let's
So,
go.
if there's anything, because Davis, he was kind of just on the path throughout our entire life, and I would kind of follow Davis, and then Evan was the first one to really stray away and try new things
Yes.
that disrupt, because our parents would raise us in certain ways, and they'd have Davis do one thing, and then I would fall in line, and Evan was the first one. And something that I can remember is fashion.
Let's
So
go.
going back, like, our mom would buy us the same clothes, we'd wear the same thing,
Same backpacks.
same backpacks, everything. But Evan was the first one in middle school, I want to say, where you went out, branched out and bought chinos or something. And he came home with those, and everyone was like, oh my god, what is he wearing?
What is it?
And
It's
you
like
were the
you
first
came back
one
from
to
the
break
gold
that
rush.
as the youngest person, which a lot of times people talk about the older sibling doing it, where you were doing it. So can you talk about that?
Ideas that shape the world.
Yeah,
Creative
seriously.
disruption.
Yeah, I don't think it was something I was consciously doing where I was like, oh, I want to change things up. I want to flip the model that you guys molded on its head. I just was like, oh, I want to look good. I don't want to wear sweatpants to school sometimes. But I guess, yeah, in our family that it was different. But I just wanted to do, I guess, what I wanted to do. And I guess it was tough at times because mom and dad would be like, oh, what are you wearing?
Let's get a 3-for-1 deal.
Yeah, seriously.
But the fashion continues. Yeah, because even now you'll inspire me to get dressed up better, especially in the last
No,
year or two.
you've been dressing nicely at all times now.
I'm trying because of you. I'll copy a lot of your style, ask you for advice on the brands. That's where it all comes from.
Yeah, I admire that,
Yeah.
that you were able to do that, because going off the norm and getting those questions and being able to fill those questions is not a comfortable thing to do, and a lot of people stay on the path of least resistance, and you're willing to go off and do your thing. And you continue to do it, like, just, it's impressive, so.
What's something like recently? I can't think of things
I can
beyond
think
that.
of lots of things. Even you're the first one to move out of the house right away. As
Oh,
the youngest
true.
person, go off, chart your own adventure.
Yeah, you were also, right when you graduated college, you went on a trip around the world.
Yeah.
You do these things that neither one of us have done, so then there's going to be questions from family, friends, and then you're willing to field those questions and do what you think is right and what's right for you, which is cool. And yeah, I think it's powerful.
And we'll see what that next new adventure is that Evan charts out there. He's gonna throw something,
Yeah,
so you never know.
heck yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, are you gonna give us any hints on any new adventures that you might have planned? Anything big cooking?
I haven't given it too much thought just with this marathon dominating my free time. That and the CFA have just been such big endeavors that between those and work, I don't really have much time to try to plot something new after that. But I think after next week, after the race is over, I'll reevaluate, see how the race goes, and then see what I want to do next.
Heck yeah.
Let's
Well, good luck.
Whoa!
And we're rooting for you as always, and thanks for coming on the podcast.
We love you,
Yeah,
Evan. That's the big thing.
yeah.
We love all our family so much. We love you, E. Keep crushing it. Let's go. I'm fired up today. This is a dream come
Yeah,
true.
this is awesome.
Oh,
Thanks, Evan.
Thank you.
let's go.
Good.